jewelry making friends. My name is Joey Balistreri. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Today's video is going to be rather quick, but I was making some earrings because a girl can never have too many pairs of pink earrings with flowers and things and pearls, and that's what I was working on, and they're quite simple. There's a couple with a little twist to them, so I thought I would share that with you. And the first pair is already done, and they do not have ear wires, if you notice. And why I made these is because our bargain bead box for February had these fabulous rose quartz nugget beads in it, and I just love them. It's one of my favorite gemstones, but these in particular just had these beautiful colors going from pink to mauve to even a lavender color. They were just beautiful, and I did these really simple stringing projects with some 15-0 galvanized seed beads as spacers just to separate the nuggets a bit, and I used gold-filled clasps on these bracelets and a little bit of capture chain. And I have been wearing these like crazy since I made them. They're just beautiful alone or to stack with other pieces. And I wanted to do some earrings to match. So what I did is dumped out the nuggets that I had left and kind of sorted through them so that I had, they're nuggets, so no two are alike. So I just wanted to make two linear drops just featuring those beautiful rose quartz nuggets and repeating the same design idea that I had here. And then some of you who have been on my channel before, you might have seen this, but I'm going to pull in my jewelry tray that is in my jewelry wardrobe. Let me see if I can back out just a little bit. This is my interchangeable jewelry tray for this season. So what you see here are all of the earrings that I have made this season so far. And these are in all of my videos. I think pretty much there's a video on every single one of these. So I created a playlist that says earrings. So if you're interested in any of these, you will be able to see how I did them. But in this first little section here, I have my two pairs of gold-filled lever back interchangeable ear wires. And so as I make my earring drops, I just simply create the earring with whatever loop I'm going to use on the top, and I place them in this tray in my jewelry wardrobe. And I have my other interchangeable items over here. So these are my spring pendants that I have created, and if you'll notice, they have really large bails or large jump rings. I do this on purpose so that because I have gold chains, leather chains, copper, antique brass, silver, stainless steel, and it just cuts down on having so many necklaces. As jewelry makers, we make a lot of things, and so it's one of my little tips and tricks to actually see what I've made and be more efficient about wearing it or donating it if I'm not going to wear it. And then this is an interchangeable necklace that I did that's all magnetic. So what I keep it in here because I have on it, it's a Y necklace, and I have on it this beaded bead that I made. Let me put this down a bit. This beaded bead that I made, and I've used a package of magnets, pave magnets, and so in this section I keep all of the interchangeable pendants that I have created for this necklace so that when I am ready to get dressed, I can see what I have and what my different options are. And I have a great video on how I did this. It's a really fun project. And then, don't throw away you will end up with an extra magnet. Don't throw that away. As you can see, I have put a jump ring on this because as is, I can actually string this onto a pink leather cord or a gold chain because I have this nice large jump ring. But if I want it on my magnetic Y chain, it is ready to go. So I have this little jewelry tray for myself where I keep my my interchangeable jewelry and earrings, necklaces, and I haven't really done this design with bracelets, but I just thought that I would share that with you. Let me zoom back out. There we go. And so that is why I have no ear wires on this, because I will just take off whatever I was wearing and thread on my little pink nugget gemstone beads, and then when I'm ready to have a pair of earrings to match my bracelets, they're always in that interchangeable tray. And I'm going to do that with the other pairs as well. And so I just thought that I would share that little design idea with you. I'll keep my ear wire out here so that we can try on the other pair that I'm going to make. And so this is a pretty simple project day. I'll start with the one that's actually maybe the most complicated. I ordered these beautiful hook ear wires with the flowers and the little loop from the sister site to Bargain Bead Box. So I'm sure you recognize a lot of the things from Bargain Bead Box, and this was in February's box. If you're a subscriber, this was those nugget beads. And so that's what I made that from. But these came from the sister site Bead Box Bargains. And if you are a subscriber to the Bargain Bead Box and you get the monthly box, then every month you get a coupon code that is good for the entire month, as many times over and over as you want to use it, for 30% off your entire order. So you can go on that fabulous website and find things like these ear wires and many other things. You'll see these little roses that I'm going to be working with also are from the Bargain Bead Box, but I have about a dozen of them in my stash that I have ordered previously from the website. So it's a really great resource, and I just thought I would share that. So if you like these ear wires, I got them in copper and gold, and I cannot remember what other metals they came in, but it was the code EAR/164 if it is something you like. I haven't had these very long, so they may still be available on the website. And that's what is comprised of my first earring. So in my travels, I love to find bead shops, and this was a bead shop that I found these beautiful, they are square freshwater pearls that are drilled like at an angle across the top corner. And I found these at a beautiful little bead shop in Gainesville, Florida, when I was traveling. My son goes to the hospital there, and I am going with him, in fact, in another week and a half, and maybe we will have time to go, and I'll try to do a little video. But that was from one of my past trips there. And then I just went in my stash and grabbed some of this beautiful clear mermaid glass beads just to make a really neutral, beautiful drop earring that I can just wear with a lot of things. You know, this could be dressed up or down, and I just wanted to do this bit really simple but with kind of a special feature bead, just because the ear wire is so gorgeous. So I'm going to do the other one with you. I'll show you how I did it. I had to play around with some of my gold wires, and this is the Beadalon German style medium tempered wire, and I had to go down to a 22 gauge to actually accommodate, and even that, it's just a little bit tight, but I have it in there. And it does move, but the holes, they're just not perfectly drilled holes, and it's the nature of this freshwater pearl. And I can't even remember how much I paid for these, but I only bought two, just thinking they would be a really sweet, beautiful pair of earrings. And as you can see, there's not much that goes into them. That special bead, one mermaid glass bead, a little bit of wire, and I'm going to put them on this ear wire, on this beautiful flower one from the Bead Box Bargains website. So all I did is kind of like got my pearl on there, and I need one side of the wire to be a little bit longer, and I'm just going to gently ask that wire to kind of hug the point on. If you can see, I'm just using my fingers to just get it up to the point, And I am going to use my bent chain nose pliers, and you know, I want to be careful because the way this is drilled right here at the top, if I put too much stress in the wrapping process, I could potentially damage that and make it not even usable. But I want to kind of get these wires to hug that point, and they're both it's not perfectly centered, the drill hole, so I can try to see. I have a little bit, I'm copying the second earring, I have a little bit of space in my wire, so I want to do the same thing on this one, just kind of get it so that I have the same amount of space. So the first earring is always the easiest because you just simply make it, and then the second earring, you know, you have to do your best to match it. And so it looks like that's pretty good. I want to bend this wire straight out, and I want to bend this wire straight up and get it nice and straight. And then I am simply going to, I just need to finesse this a little bit before I wire wrap because I'm actually not happy with that space. I want it to look as close to the other one as I can, but even you can see even the pearls are not, they're not the same, and the shape is not the same, and even where the drill hole is not the same. So I'm just going to do my best. That when you're working with a natural material that's really organic like that, that's all you can do. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other one and just get a hold of that and lock that wire into place. And I want to copy the same number of wraps. It looks like I did 3. And let me switch hands. And sometimes I can do this with my fingers, and sometimes I feel that I have more control with a second pair of pliers. That looks pretty good, matches the other one pretty well. I love my bent chain nose pliers when I need to do super neat wraps because I can reach inside the wraps and kind of line them up if I didn't get it really good when I was wrapping. So I really like that. And I'm just going to trim away that little excess. And I always tuck my cut ends just to make sure that nothing is going to scratch if it touches skin or brushes against me or anybody that's wearing it. Whoops, hold on to it. Sometimes it's actually easier to come back and tuck your wires when you have your last bead and your last wrap on because you have a little leverage. I may do that because I'm just struggling with it. And so that is how simple these were. This is still needs a little finessing. It's just the hole in these. I found the same thing when I wrapped the first one, and I don't want to put too much stress on it because it's a very delicate little natural pearl. And then how simple, just put that little piece of mermaid glass on there, and I just need to have a look at my loop. I need it to be going front to back because the loop on the flower ear wire is horizontal to my mat. So I need this loop to be going perpendicular to my beading mat. So I'm just going to grab that wire right where it comes out of the bead and give myself a 90-degree bend. And let me get my round nose pliers. And I want to try to put this wire at the same position on the pliers that I did, so the loops on both of these drops are the same, and that's pretty much where I always do it. If you want a smaller loop, you go down because these taper, and if you want a larger loop, you put your wire, you know, higher up. And so I'm trying to do this in pretty much the same spot. And I like to kind of roll my wrist back and just make sure that that loop is centered on the wire. And now I'll take that away and come back in with my bent chain nose pliers. And I want to give myself a little bit of space, open that up, and I have to put this on backwards because of the way it loops around so that it will be facing forward. And I want to go ahead and attach that flower ear wire to the front there. and close it where I just gave myself some space, and now just wrap. And I think I did, let me check my wraps, I think I did, looks like I did 4 on this one. I just wanted to wrap right down to the bead, so that's what fit in there, and it's going to be the same on this one. Just get 4 wraps, and I want to go bring it around to the back and cut it off in the back. So these are quite simple and really fast to make, but so beautiful and versatile. And these could really, when I was designing them, I thought about, I wanted the pearls, but I was looking for what bead could go here, and I looked at some pink beads, I looked at some purple faceted check glass, and thinking, do I want a color? I went into my sort of blue, and in the end I said, I just want something really neutral, really wearable, like go with anything, and just easy to grab. These kind of ear wires are great, like when I go get my hair done, because I have to slip my earrings on and off, and so I like to wear something super easy when I have a day like that. So that sweet little pair of earrings is done. And here's where I always like to share my sources with you, like the Beadbox Bargains, because ear wires like that do so much of the work of your design. With simple wire wrapping, you can come out with something absolutely stunning. And this is the kind of thing where you can feature a special bead or something you've purchased in your travels, like I have here. So it's really fun. Website, inexpensive things, but stunning, and that's what we want, right? So I have a little piece of 20 gauge wire, and I'll show you the earring that I've already created. These little roses were in the February Bargain Bead Box subscription, and again I went into my stash and found these. They have an AB finish on them. I can show you what they look like on the strand. These were also something I purchased on one of my trips. I was somewhere in a bead shop, and I love cylinder type beads, and pink, and they have the AB finish on them. And so they're all a little bit irregular, so I cut the strand and chose 4 that were pretty similar, since I'm doing earrings with them. And it's that simple. I'm using my 1-step looper for this, and this is simple except the direction of your loops, which even if you make a mistake with that, it's really easy with 2 pairs of pliers to turn loops in a different direction. But they are that simple, and I'll show you. This is just, again, going to feed right on to this interchangeable ear wire and just be this beautiful linear dangle with, it looks like an enchanted rose to me. So when I finish, let me show you what I did with the looping on this one, and when I finish I'll show you what I will do with a charm like this, because this is just fashion jewelry, and if you're in a place where you have humidity, or even just over time without some protection, this will become tarnished. And so there you have a simple loop, you could change it out, but I like to give my pieces a little longevity, so I'll show you my little trick for that. Let me show you the loops in this, and what I used for my little bit of gold presents. Also from my stash, I have purchased these reconstituted hematite Heishi beads, and they are in 4mm, and it's a bead landing product, which I do not know if I purchased these in the Michaels store or on the website, the Howlcraft e-commerce website that closed down about 1.5 years ago. I used to order from them. So these have been in my stash, and I don't know if they're still available at Michaels, but I just love them. You will see these in a lot of my projects, because look at what a perfect little, just a little gold presence in between beads, just to break up the pink. And as I'm looking at this, I can even see my gold wire peeking through that cylinder bead in between the little AB finish. I absolutely think it's simple but stunning, which I kind of like that to be my forte. So I just have this little piece of 20 gauge wire that I have straightened, and I'm going to take in my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper and just put this wire in this tool and, you know, get my first loop in there. So there's a hole in the back of this tool. For those of you who are new to this, there's a hole in the back of this tool which is meant to help you line this wire up under the little mandrel in the tool. But when you don't have any beads, that's just a huge waste of wire, because the tool is going to cut all of that and then it's useless. So I'm going to pull this back inside the tool just so that, and I'll close it down a bit to hold on to it, but just so that there's enough space for the tool to wrap the wire around the mandrel and then cut it off. So let me go as slowly as I can so maybe you can see what it does. See, it already cut. There's the tiny little piece of waste, and the loop is made. And now before I open the tool or remove the wire, I'm just going to bend that down and just straighten it with my finger. And I can see now that loop is right on the center of that wire. So it's just one of the little secrets of having a good loop with this tool is while it's still in there, you know, have a look at what you've done with your loop. And when it comes away, it is a near perfect loop. Now this one didn't close all the way. It's totally fine. It's a simple loop. Almost always when you make a simple loop, you've done that so that you can open and close it. So when I open it to attach it, then, you know, to my rose, then I can make it really tight and maybe even work harden it by opening and closing my pliers. So this is so simple. I am going to thread on one of those cylinder beads, one of those little 4 millimeter he/she beads, and another cylinder bead. And now the loop at the top is the one that's going to thread onto the ear wire. And so since the ear wire again is like perpendicular to my mat, I need this top loop to be horizontal to my beading mat. So I'm just going to hold it that way, which is like this, and put it back in the tool and push the beads right up to the jaw of the plier, and I'm going to back off just like a millimeter. Can you see? I've just backed off just a tiny bit right there so the tool won't put pressure on that bead when I close it. And this loop is going perpendicular to my beading mat, so this one's going to go this way. It will be horizontal to my beading mat. And I'll still, let me go ahead and slowly close this with the beads in there so you can see. It has cut away the little scrap that we don't need. And now before let me readjust my hand. Now before I do anything, it's most of the way closed, but I don't close it all the way. I kind of close and pull my beads back at the same time. And so that way I'm making sure the beads are not stressed by the tool. And now while it's still in the tool, I can see this is horizontal, and actually this one's really straight and looks really great. I don't really need to do anything to it, but if you did, you can have a lot of control over it while the tool is closed and you're still holding on to your component. So I love this tool. And if you have any kind of pain in your hand, you might want to give it a try, because it takes away that constant twisting motion that we do when we're making loops. So I love it for that. And so, you know, I'll come in with my pliers and just make sure it's closed. And I like to open and close my pliers. It's another way of work hardening without putting your wire on a bench block and hammering it. And so that's the part that's going to go on the ear wire. Just thread it on so you can see what I've done. Love these lever back interchangeable ear wires. So that's the part that goes on the ear wire. And now this part, it's so simple. I'm just going to open this nice and wide and thread my little rose charm at the bottom. And now I can come in and make sure that that loop is closed, and I work harden a little bit by opening and closing my pliers, and my second earring is done. So I just want to show you really quickly. I don't always show this in my videos, but usually when I stop filming, if I have used any kind of a fashion jewelry item that's just a base metal and enamel, I will give it a nice little coat of this Potomac Permalac Clear. I love this. It dries very quickly. If you can see how thin it is, if you can polish your nails, you can do this. I always say that, but you know, you don't have to be an artist or good at painting or anything to do this. And just because I don't want these to tarnish very quickly, this adds such long life. So I'm just going to set it off to the side so it's not over my mat, and even take a little plastic bag just to not damage my mat. So the Beadle-On wire that I have used has an anti-tarnish coating on it, so this wire lasts a really, really long time, you know, without having tarnish. But like the backs of these will easily tarnish. So I'm just going to brush, and it dries clear. So like on these enamel pieces, I can still brush right over the enamel and you will not see it on the enamel. And I like to even get like inside this loop, because metal will tarnish. So like on this little design here, I'll try to get my brush even inside, and then I'll do the front side as well. And this dries super, super fast. It depends on how thick you've brushed it on. But you know, I really like these. I'm making these for myself. I want to wear them all summer. And in Florida, where I am, we have a lot of humidity. So sometimes things will tarnish even just hanging in my wardrobe in the air conditioning. You know, it's just a thing that happens. And then of course we wear a lot of sunscreen, and because of the humidity, our skin is moist. And you know, I just want my jewelry pieces to last. I don't want them to be tarnished and unwearable before I'm tired of it and ready to make something new. So I don't know, I know you probably can't see because of the angle. I just have a little scrap piece of wire, and if I've gotten too much of the coating like inside a loop, I'll just clear the hole before it dries with a little scrap piece of wire or a toothpick. And you know, it just adds so much longevity and quality to a piece of jewelry that I've made. So that is one of my little tricks. I can link this in the description box underneath the video if you tap more, and sometimes you have to tap more again because I put all kinds of information there that I think you might want if you're looking for something for your own work, you know, or if there's information you might want about coupons or discounts or codes, anything that I've mentioned or shared with you that I can think of, I try to list it in my description boxes. So I'll put a link to this underneath. But let me get some pictures at the end of the video for you. And also, I have been asking everyone to send me in my email pictures of their little dog and cat jewelry supervisors, and I've started to receive some, so I'm going to put those up at the end of this video with the names and you'll see, if you guys ever take any time to read the comments under the videos, you'll see that we have such a sweet community, and it's the regular people that are watching and exchanging ideas and information that we have about whatever the project is. And you'll start to recognize that, you know, who that is and who their little jewelry supervisor is. So I'm going to start adding some of those in at the end of the videos that I do as they come in. And so if you want to send me a picture of your little jewelry supervisors with their little furry faces, we would love it. It's just a joyful thing to share with the community. So I will put my email in the description box as well, and feel free to send me those photos. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you're all safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, jewelry making friends.